like it's actually quite weird to go back, because I remember that being like this huge adjustment, but actually it's probably relatively minor to other ears. But for me and you in that moment,
and you nailed it.
Oh, mate. This began on the piano. I was telling Fraser that there was this song I wanted to write from this perspective. I was explaining what I wanted to do. I hadn't quite worked out how I wanted to do it. And you were finding chords as I was explaining what the premise of the song was going to be. Fraser found these beautiful chords, and then I put down the verse as it was coming to light. I made like a guide track with Fraser. Should we play a bit of those chords before I go on to explain what happened next?
Yeah, great idea. So this is in this room. This is
just over on the Steinway.
Steinway down there.
Right. The impact of it's still ringing. We dance in the crater. So then, all day long, I can hear so we put the song down like that as the kind of duet in the room, and then I was saying to Fraser, like, actually, is there a way? Could you play those chords? I love the chords, but I didn't want it to be maybe so sweet or so kind of the kind of lullaby element of it. I didn't want it to feed too much into the kind of heart place of what we're talking about, you know. And I was saying, can you do that? Can you play those chords, but on the bass? Like, can you kind of maybe transpose that to like a chordal bass pattern? And Fraser's like, I was like, you know, like Jacob Pastorius kind of Portrait of Tracy. And
no problem.
Fraser's like, he got stuck into it, and then he stopped himself. He looked up at me. I remember we were just sat here. He looked up from over the bass. He was like, just so you know, bass is like my fifth instrument, and Jacob Pastorius is like the best bassist in the world. So what you're asking for, I'm gonna do it, but like, just so you know. And I was like, Fraser, you could do this. Like, you could definitely do this. Like, because to me, Fraser's like Superman, could do anything.
Yeah.
And then I hadn't really realised it was a big ask, but Fraser's like, okay, I'm just got stuck in, and then. And so then what I wanted was, I wanted it to feel like the dawn was coming, you know, the sun was coming up throughout the song. So I wanted those piano chords to be like the sunlight coming, but I knew that we had to start in the night. And for me, like that kind of chordal bass, that's nighttime. It's so much more held than the piano.
Yeah.
You know? And for me, it's more evocative of a place, a muted, smaller place. It's tempting, I think, if you've got a lyric that is in some ways a very heartbreaking lyric, to try and do the same thing musically. But I've learned, and I'm sure it's the same for you, that actually then it just feels like playing the same note twice. Like you want there to be this contrast between what the music and the lyric are doing, and that's when something feels like exciting and rich, and it gives the imaginative space more reality, more texture, because that's how life feels. So the fact that it's this, there's mournful notes in the music, but it's beautiful, it's hopeful, it's uplifting, I think, musically.
Yeah.
And that's why the lyric can be what it is. That's why this song is a beautiful song, even though it's about something that is hard.
This episode is being supported by Tape It, the iPhone app made specifically for musicians. If you, like many of our guests, use voice memos, then switching to Tape It is an obvious choice. And now, Tape It has layering. This means you can record over your voice notes, try out top lines, stack harmonies, build up instruments, jam with yourself, and so much more. Layering is such an exciting addition to Tape It's long list of features to help you stay creative and organised, including the ability to record straight from your lock screen, set markers, add notes, and add photos of settings. You can easily import your old voice notes, sync to the cloud, and create shared playlists with co-writers and bandmates. So, head to the link below to install Tape It and use the promo code TAPENOTES to receive a whopping 20% off Tape It Pro. And now, back to the episode.
We put the vocal down And I remember at that point, I'd had so much time like living with the lyric by that point. The take that I did, it was full of rage. I remember it was like, actually, I was like living inside that lyric, and I was just raging. And then I came out of the booth like just, you know, like kind of fucked from it. And Fraser said to me, there was something about the first time that I said the lyric out loud to you where there'd been some like hesitance in it. It's the lyrics finding its shape. It's all really vulnerable. And you were talking about the kind of whispered hopefulness of one of the earlier takes and how that allows you in as a listener more than just hearing somebody just like, you know, pissed off about it or hopeless about it or upset about it. Actually, the angles, it creates a barrier, a block. So, and I don't even know if you remember saying this, but you kind of reminded me where the song was taking place. Like, if you're really outside a room of a sleeping child, how would you really be speaking? You know, like, you'd be speaking in this, you know, we keep our voices down, we're trying. And so I went back in the booth and I gave the next take more tenderness and more love. The song is from a place of deep love. And I want it to feel like that. I don't want it to just feel like, I don't want it to turn you off because of the anger in it. If I'd have been at home on my own trying to write this, it would have been a different song.
Yeah.
And it probably never would have got written.
Yeah.
The impact of it's still ringing. We dance in the crater it left. All day long I can hear you singing, but I wake in the night and hear you catching your breath. 6 months, you've barely slept. I wonder how many others are stuck on the same map. Survivors built in the hidden depths. Survivors guilt. So like it's like the most every day of your life internal, like recalibration. But when you get lost in flashbacks, I miss you. But somehow that's when you're like down in the engine room of a song. It's like these very subtle recalibrations. It's the difference between something sounding like majestic and complete. Like it's actually quite weird to go back because I remember that being like this huge adjustment.
And you nailed it, absolutely nailed it. So I played.
Sure.
Completely. We feel we're there and we're feeling the pain that you're going through as well and relate to it.
The impact of it's still ringing. We dance in a crater it left. All day long I can hear you singing, but I wake in the night, I hear you catching your breath. 6 months now you barely slept. I wonder how many others are stuck on the same map. Survivors built in the hidden depths. Survivors guilt like an empty trap. Every day of your life is a victory lap. I'm proud to be running it with you. When you get lost in flashbacks, I miss you. I'm picking up the slack, but my hands are slipping. It was the worst betrayal, resurfacing now that your life is stable. I know you're a soldier, but where do you go when your eyes glaze over? I wish I could.
I have to say, just like one last thing on the vocal is that I think that the performance across this record and the amount of rewrites from a performative side, but the backwards and forwards that we had needs to be really praised, because if you think of the difference between this and Statue in the Square and Forever, the tracks that we've listened to on the podcast, but then adding in I Know Yourself and across the record, for me, like vocally, it's stunning because there's so many different gears to what you're doing, and I think that needs to be
mate,
talked about because it's phenomenal.
But it is very, very true.